Well, the reveal trailer for The Sims 4 Enchanted by Nature expansion pack just dropped. Here are my personal opinions and reactions. So, we start this trailer with an interesting, almost dreamlike sequence where someone is imagining being a fairy, which will come full circle at the end of this trailer. One thing I will say is whoever stages this trailers does a nice job of really building up a type of narrative, and we do see that across most Sims packs. Then we get into this look of a more realistic life, so to speak, after we get out of this dream sequence. So we can see some new hairs here, of course. I actually really do like the one new hair of the main character, so to speak. I think it looks absolutely fantastic, but I still think we need more variety in hairs overall. As we see here, there are tons of plants and mushroom motifs, and I just think this will be so cool for building. It will go well with Realm of Magic, in my humble opinion, even cottage living, and I will say that is a plus. As far as the world, it doesn't seem like totally new material. We do see Sims out and about in the world doing various activities, especially to do with plants. As you can see here, you can actually forage for plants, including mushrooms, sages, and eggplant frogs, and these will have different impacts. I do like that element, and if they fix gardening, this will be a positive aspect. You can bathe in water, thank goodness, and you can actually sleep outdoors on the ground if you wish to. As far as the overall cast and build by items, I will go into more detail potentially in another video. We see here there is an ailments system. Now, Get to Work doesn't have a very robust illness system, so I hope this does bring something for players who want that. We also do see quests of some sort, and basically a gig or quest, whichever way it is, where you do accomplish different things by foraging out in the world and even mixing ingredients. Now, to me, this definitely looks like there is a heavy emphasis on gardening, making potions, cures, etc., which does not surprise me. Again, what really stands out to me, honestly, is the build by. I think it looks absolutely beautiful, and I cannot wait to see what people are going to build. That said, when I'm looking at a trailer, I'm also hoping to see gameplay. It seems that ailments are the main draw to this pack, in my humble opinion, being able to actually look for cures and see how that impacts Sims. We also do see the small fairy house, so to speak, and this is where a fairy emerges. As you can see here, they are small, and then the fairies eventually go normal size. As far as the fairies, they definitely went the Disney appeal. I'm not saying I hate the style of them whatsoever. I think there's some pretty interesting details, but as far as the overall creativity, I was honestly just looking for more fantastical gameplay, and also a darker side to this as well. Now, we're gonna pause right here, and I apologize, I know I'm all over the place, but this, of course, is the bonus items. Now, as I say so many times, it is not worth buying a pack early just to get the bonus items. As a reminder, you do not have to pre-order for these bonus items, and I never would. You just have to purchase by August 21st, but I would only purchase by August 21st if you actually want the pack, because the bonus items are just okay, in my opinion. Now, there is a lofty leaf pond, which potentially could be pretty cool. There's also this cool lantern and a dwelling at fairy home. Now, in this case, I do hope there is a version of the fairy home in another way, because I think that would be bad just to be locked for this content. All in all, I do think the Sims team puts together good trailers, but for some reason, maybe I'm just being negative, this really didn't wow me. I was hoping for maybe another occult, maybe some bigger gameplay, and again, it's a reveal trailer, so it only reveals so much. Yes, I do actually think the ailment system has a lot of potential. I also think that the various items in the world being able to forage is going to really support a rags to riches gameplay. So honestly, I could see lots of people having fun with this, but at the same time, does it feel like an expansion pack to me? I know this gets very tired and old, but no, it absolutely does not, at least at this point. Said, let's go ahead and look at some of the more detailed features. After all, the Sims team does put up a blog post, and this explains it a lot better than any reveal trailer will. The first feature is life among trees. Step outside and make yourself at home in nature. With a natural living skill, so that is a new skill, Sims can meet their needs outdoors without beds or plumbing. Again, great for off the grid, rags to riches, or other challenges, and I suspect they had this in mind. The natural world has a a lot to offer, and Sims can forage to uncover what's hidden. Find everything from crystals to frogs to food. Now, one issue I have with this, of course they might be expanding it, but these feel like features we personally already have. This way of life is perfect for Sims with the new nature nomad aspiration. So once again, an aspiration I think that really emphasizes living out the grid, rags to riches, and ties into challenges. Sims can even bring the great outdoors inside with new pots for gardening on tables, counters, and shelves. Again, really great for build buy, but I'm not so sure about the overall theme. And the new traits are plant lover, mystical, and disruptive. Play a role in how Sims relate to the world. So we are going to have to get some more information about what plant lover, mystical, and disruptive mean. As always, I would be more interested in mystical and disruptive personally. The next up, of course, is all about the fairies, the fairest folk. Do you feel nature's mystical pull? Embark on a special journey and become a fairy. So good news is you can become a fairy. They are playable, which was a concern of mine. Fairies can develop abilities that let them nurture plants, change the mood of others, and a whole lot more. This pack is going to be a lot about both emotions and gardening, which I will say I do have some concerns about. The new fairy story's aspiration, so there's an aspiration specifically for fairies, will have you choosing between harmonious and discordant fairy paths. At very least, it does sound like there's a quote-unquote darker side, but we'll just have to see what that actually means. Create fairy Sims with wondrous wings and make them unique by painting, and that again will be nice for Create a Sim. Plus, add whimsical accessories, glowing tattoos, that's kinda cool, and more. Non-fairy Sims can also have magical fun by using fairy dust, and you can bring gnomes to life. And next up, a balanced life. Prolonged negative emotions can cause imbalance, and imbalance can lead to ailments with strange effects. They aren't always bad. Maybe you like lots of gnomes at your house, but if you want a cure, you want to turn to the new table and hone your skills. There's a cure for every one of the 8 ailments, plus 14 more recipes and other fantastical effects. You can also become a naturopath, a level 10 career, which is really great, when you can cure Sims at home. Now honestly, this is a good appeal because we do not tend to get level 10 careers very often. You can also be an elixir enthusiast aspiration. Make sure to watch your luck, which affects everything from cooking well to developing ailments. My main concern here is that it's so connected to emotions, and I just think that emotions, unfortunately, in Sims 4 still have a lot of issues. So of course, the Sims team cannot consolidate information. There's also a blog post that I do think gives more nuance to gameplay, which is definitely a good sign. Mother Nature has a very interesting proposition should you choose to accept it. With her guidance, Sims can become the fairy they were destined to be, and once they complete their transformation, they'll have the choice to flutter down 2 fairy paths. There's the harmonious fairy, a benevolent winged helper who wants to aid other living things, find health and balance, and the discordant fairy, a flying mischief maker that enjoys stirring up a little chaos and making life harder for the Sims around them. Fairies can develop abilities that let them nurture paths, manipulate objects, change the mood of others, and more. But be wary of emotional starvation. Rather than living off food, fairies absorb emotions to survive. For some reason, this definitely reminds me of a path they went with Realm of Magic. So they can survive either directly from other fairies or from bottled emotion potions. Failure to do so will welcome their untimely demise. At least it adds a little complexity and challenge to their survival, and it is an interesting concept, at least in theory. You can customize your fairy with an extensive array of wings, skin tones, ears, teeth, head accessories, glowing tattoos, and more. In addition, fairies can even use their fairy charm to deliver a special woohoo. Don't worry, non-fairy Sims, you can also have some magical fun with fairy dust, using it to enchant plants, bring gnomes to life, and more. Now, I have no idea if fairies are going to have a skill tree or how advanced they're going to be, but at very least it seems a little bit better than what we saw in the reveal trailer. Now we also get a little bit more information about the new world. We already talked about the neighborhoods and the general aesthetic. That includes the coast of Adhorm, a peaceful seaside village where everyday Sims enjoy life's simple pleasures. Stepping out of town brings us to Spruce Dairy Grove, a vibrant blend of friendly shops, cozy homes, and draping ivory that blur the line between civilization and the natural world. And finally, of course, there's the magical forest, a thick and mysterious woodland humming with enchanting energy. Now, honestly, I think we covered most of this. We do get a new screenshot. We also get a little more detailed information about the sense of balance. As far as balance, living in tune with nature is more than playing in the dirt and hugging trees. It means respecting the natural world and promoting a balanced coexistence. I'm not gonna lie, this sounds a lot like eco lifestyle. When Sims start to lose their balance and become imbalanced, life can become harder to navigate. For example, one may acquire new skills at a slower rate, or their everyday needs may become harder to solve. And if a Sim enters the very imbalanced territory, that's when ailments start to show up. This is somewhat repeated information, it just goes into somewhat more detail. They mentioned the greeny meanie. With this ailment, Sims will learn and complete gardening tasks faster than normal, but they're constantly angry and prone to outbursts. And that's just one of many. There's emotional void, simoleon fever, and sonic sinuses. Also, ailments can vanish and moods can improve with cures and elixirs crafted with the new table. Special ingredients like lightning root and aurora blossom found while gardening and foraging, Sims can follow intricate recipes for treatment and fantastical effects. And with the right amount of practice, one can take on elixir enthusiast aspiration or become a naturopath. Achieving balance, however, may require a little luck. That includes good, ordinary, or bad luck, which can impact career, love life, cooking, foraging, and other interactions. They are also talking about the nature nomad aspiration. Give Sims the chance to eat, bathe, sleep, and thrive entirely off the land. Forget modern comforts, this is about embracing a simpler life in rhythm and balance with the world around you. From eating freshly caught fish and sleeping in the grass to foraging for ingredients and summoning a privy bush, every new discovery brings your Sim closer to self-reliance. For those not quite ready to give up the hot showers and cozy beds, you can also try a plant parent life instead and welcome a collection of new living houseplants in your humble abode. And finally, last but not least, they did collab with some creators in the community for their builds, which I think personally is always a good idea. The neighborhoods draw inspiration on nature and fantasy, but they also take some inspiration from architecture and aesthetics of Ireland. This is one of the builds by Krat Kyber, otherwise known as Megan. This is the Whistling Thistle Gardens, and also there is going to be a lounge too, and 8 Gnome Coast Street. Very fantastical, I think they did a nice job, and like I said, personally, I think the build buy is the highlight of this pack. I also have a quote, I wanted the park to be functional for a range of life stages, so I added items to make sure the whole family could spend the day together. And next, we have a build by Sim Scrolls. The build by Sim Scrolls, I think all levels make it feel organic and untamed. I wanted it to feel wild, like it was merging with nature, so having the home partially built into a hill felt just right. And honestly, once again, I think this is lovely. I really love the build by. I don't know how I feel about the world as a whole, but I think they really nailed it in terms of at least the original builds, and collabing with creators is always a good idea. It was very important to me to build something unique with a very unconventional shape that would do justice to the beautiful place. I spent a long time with this build playing with different shapes and styles until I was happy with it. Community space is somewhere your Sims can meet as a family or come on a date or venture out alone, says Sandra, who hails from Ireland. The overgrown feel is inspired by the way nature flourishes here in Ireland. So of course we do get a bar, but at least it's fantastical, and of course it does fit the theme. Once again, I'm not trying to be negative, I just try to always be honest on my channel on my personal opinions and reactions, and sometimes that means that I'm really positive and sometimes not so much. If nothing else, the build buy looks pretty good, and I also will say I don't think this is a pack that you're gonna just play through once and be done. This pack has potential to integrate very well and enhance other systems in the game. So in that essence, maybe it could be more interesting. Would I have preferred a game pack about fairies? Potentially, but we will just have to wait and see. As always, thanks so much for listening to my rambling. Please take care of yourselves, and I will see you in the next video.